This is Top 30.
Welcome to the show. I'm Richard Bacon.
And I'm Kristen Smith. We have 30 stories in 30 minutes. Coming up, passengers on a Delta flight are calling it the scariest thing ever. We'll tell you what happened. There could be a shortage of a life-saving medication. We'll tell you how it could affect you. And Prince's private island is up for auction, and it is stunning. But first, major retailers like Target, Nordstrom, and REI have announced they're expanding their plus-size offerings to keep pace with Americans' expanding waistlines. According to the CDC, the mean waist size for women over the age of 20 was 38 inches in 2014. That's about a size 16 for most brands, which is considered plus size. The standard sizes most stores carry typically run from 0 to 12. Clothing retailers have been slow to adapt to a larger customer base, with many stores relegating plus-size clothing to a separate section at the back of the store. And some customers have complained the limited plus-size offerings make it hard to find stylish clothing. But Nordstrom is adding larger sizes from more than 100 brands, even from luxury brands like Gucci. The outdoor apparel giant REI will expand its plus-size department by 50%. And Target will display much of its plus-size clothing alongside regular sizes. They are also changing the way clothing is presented to shoppers. Most Nordstrom and Target stores now have plus-size mannequins to model the apparel. So hopefully these changes mean people of all sizes have a more enjoyable shopping experience.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend and mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I hear there's been a shortage of a certain life-saving medication.
That's right, Richard. An advocacy group claims that there's a shortage of EpiPens and other allergic reaction treatments in the United States. Patients have reported back orders at pharmacies and delays in refilling prescriptions. The FDA has not declared a national shortage and says it will continue to monitor the situation. Amazon's smart doorbell company Ring has launched a neighborhood security app. Confirmed users can upload photos, videos, and text messages on a map. They'll get push notifications if an alert applies to them, and also get updates from local law enforcement. President Trump said that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. He also noted the U.S. will reimpose economic sanctions that were lifted.
And Nicole, how does this impact us in the U.S.?
It's still too early to tell, but some analysts say gasoline prices could shoot up as much as 25 cents a gallon. The U.S. does not buy oil from Iran, but some of our allies do. Of course, we'll have to wait and see what the real effects are.
All right, Nicole, in New York, thank you.
153 passengers were forced to evacuate a Delta airplane on a Denver runway after the cabin filled with smoke.
Close out!
One person called it the scariest thing ever, but thankfully there were no serious injuries. And the CDC is under fire for a tick warning they put on Twitter. They posted this photo hoping to inform the public of how tiny ticks can be. Well, some people joked that the CDC had ruined poppy seed muffins for them. So they apologized, saying, sorry we ticked some of you off. And Post Malone just shattered a Billboard music record previously held by the Beatles for 54 years.
Man, I feel just like a rock star.
Post has 9 songs simultaneously in the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The Beatles and J. Cole had shared the record with 6. Okay, these never get old. Watch as Trent Hopkins sees color for the first time.
Can you see colors now?
Oh my gosh, that's so weird. It's like, I want to throw up.
Hopkins was gifted the special glasses by his students, and he says they've changed his life. Now let's go to Danielle Knox from Fox 35 Orlando. She has what you need to know today. So Danielle, I hear Netflix is getting in the way of romance?
Hi, yeah, Kristen, that's right. Netflix and chill is so last year. It turns out the streaming service may actually be killing your love life. New research finds the busiest streaming service used is between 10 and 11 p.m. Experts say couples are less interested in intimacy because, well, they're watching TV in bed. Keep in mind, though, this study was conducted in England, so it's unclear if Netflix has the same impact here in the U.S. A cancer diagnosis for African-American women is more of a financial burden than it is for white women. Researchers followed the financial status of about 2,500 women over their course of cancer diagnosis. They found 24% of black women compared to 11% of white women delayed or even refused recommended treatment due to cost. And if you're trying to get pregnant, skip the fast food. Researchers looked at the diets of over 5,000 women and found that those who ate fast food 4 or more times a week take almost a month longer to get pregnant than women who ate fruit 3 or more times per day. Experts say that this is in line with other research that says, well, processed foods simply are not good for you. And that's what you need to know. Kristen, let's go back to you now.
Okay, less processed food, more fruits and veggies. Got it. Thanks, Danielle. Top 30, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. A growing number of Americans say their next car will be electric. In a new survey by AAA, 20% of people say they're likely to buy an electric vehicle, up from 15% a year ago. The news comes as Tesla is ramping up production of its Model 3. Nissan has a new Leaf model, and Chevy offers the mid-priced Bolt. The increase is partly due to fewer people being afraid of running out of electricity while on the road, or so-called range anxiety. The number of people who worry about range dropped from 68% to 58%. The most popular reason for considering an EV, with 80%, was concern for the environment. 67% said they were looking forward to lower operating costs. Electricity is cheaper per mile than gas or diesel, and EVs need less maintenance than traditional cars. Many people say charging times are still too long. A majority don't want to wait longer than 30 minutes.
Now for this week's Page 6 Fix with senior reporter Carlos Greer. So, Carlos, I hear one of Hollywood's leading men is in some trouble.
Well, Kristen, Johnny Depp is in hot water again. Multiple sources have told us that the actor attacked a staffer on the set of his upcoming film after Depp had been smoking and drinking all day in what was described as a toxic environment. He got into a staffer's face and tried to punch him in the ribs. And hats off to the stars for bringing their A-game to the Kentucky Derby. But there was one star who really stole the show. Johnny Weir hit the races, paying tribute to the Triple Crown with the crown of his own. Even Tina Knowles had a comedy routine going on. And that's this week's Page 6 Fix. See you next time.
Well, never a dull moment at the Derby. Thanks, Carlos. For more news and gossip, watch Page 6 TV weekdays. Check your local listings.
More millennials are skipping buying a starter home and instead investing in more expensive forever homes. USA Today reports that many people in their mid-30s have more savings for a variety of reasons, meaning they can afford to start with a bigger home instead of working up to one. Some of them were forced to live with their parents because of the skyrocketing housing market, but that allowed them to save more money to put towards their first home. The increasing prices of starter homes was also a barrier for some who wanted to buy but couldn't, forcing them to rent and potentially save money. And incomes have also gone up over the past few years, allowing millennials to progress through their careers and earn more. Experts say they expect these factors to continue, meaning the trend of buying more expensive first homes will continue as well. Welcome back to Top 30. This week, Google demonstrated a new feature that can make phone calls and complete tasks by itself while sounding like a human. At a conference, Google CEO Sundar Pichai played a clip of the software making a reservation at a restaurant.
Hi, I'd like to reserve a table for Wednesday the 7th.
For 7 people?
It's for 4 people.
4 people when?
Next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
The person on the other end has no idea they're not speaking to a real person, which some people find unsettling. I find marvelous.
I do too.
Great.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And I think the coolest thing in that demonstration was that the software didn't, stumble when someone didn't understand him or, even had an accent.
Put in ums and ers, and it's fantastically clever.
Speech patterns in itself.
What other tasks could it do beyond this, or what other phone calls can it make? Paying bills, imagine that.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'm hoping it can knock out some serious things on my to-do list.
Yeah.
It can make life so much easier,
Ending a relationship.
Oh my goodness, imagine that.
Sacking someone. Google Assistant, can you sack my assistant?
Oh, gosh. That might be in a few years. That could be the future. Okay, well, if you start looking for the door as soon as you get to an event, you're not alone. Listen to this. A new survey by Evite found 2/3 of partygoers show up with an exit strategy. But the way people react to those invitations has to do with whether they're an introvert or an extrovert. I found this fascinating because it forced me to look at myself and kind of think, I think I'm an extrovert with introverted tendencies.
Interesting, yeah.
When you look at the numbers, 55% of introverts feel pangs of anxiety when they get an invitation to something. And when I get invited to something, I do feel like, oh my gosh, like I feel that anxiety.
I only feel anxiety when I don't get invited to something.
You're way extroverted.
I think the people throwing the parties often have an exit strategy for getting me out.
Right.
Like, I remember my friend's 40th, I'm often the last to leave, and I remember he pushed me out the door.
Yeah.
He went, you've got to go, go.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But I think, no, it really doesn't. Whereas even play dates, I have an exit strategy for play dates. I'm like, we're gonna stay for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And my strategy is to say this and do that, round up the kiddos, you know what I mean? The diaper bag's ready.
Yeah. So my exit strategy for a play date is to never enter. Top 30 will be right back.
In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 10 Phoenix, 12-year-old Jamison Waite has special needs, but he also has an immense passion for fashion design. He used to keep his sketches to himself until he was able to meet famed fashion designer David Joseph last year. Jamison gave Joseph a framed sketch of one of his dresses, and the encouragement he got from the designer helped him come out of his shell. A few months later, Joseph invited Jamison and his family to his annual charity event called Fashion to the Rescue. To Jamison's surprise, Joseph had brought his sketch to life, and Jamison got to see his own design on the runway for the very first time. In our second story from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, Camden Grant is a middle schooler on a mission to give shoes to less fortunate kids in her community. She calls her effort Souls Shaping Souls, and Camden is collecting donations to give every first grader in a nearby school district a new pair of shoes. So far, she's raised over $6,000. That's enough money to not only give every first grader new shoes, but every second grader as well. In our final story from Fox 29 Philadelphia, the Camden County Animal Shelter in New Jersey started a new program to help rescue dogs find forever homes faster. The Rent a Dog program allows approved volunteers to rent a dog for a few hours. They can take the dog for a walk or a hike or just cuddle with it. The dog gets some fresh air and attention, and the volunteers get to see the dog's personality. And the program has already led to several adoptions. Welcome back. One man took his love for a popular fast food item to a whole new level. Jason Matheson, host of The Jason Show on Fox 9 in Minneapolis, tells us more. So, Jason, I hear someone ate an insane amount of Big Macs.
Hey, Kristen, this is a crazy story out of Wisconsin, right next door to where I'm at right now. So the Big Mac is getting ready to turn 50 years old, and listen to this. There's a 64-year-old named Don who has eaten a Big Mac, almost 2 a day, for the last almost 50 years, 46 to be exact. Let me repeat that. This dude eats 2 Big Macs every day of his life, and he says he plans to do it until the day he McDies. That's right. And he goes to the doctor regularly, and the doctor says he's in really good health. Personally, I would go for the Chicken McNuggets. I could eat those every day of my life without a problem. Kristen?
Well, I don't know about the Big Macs or nuggets, but French fries, that I could do. Thanks, Jason.
A summer intern program may make you think of students stuck in a cubicle running errands for the boss and not getting paid. But Harley-Davidson is taking a different approach. The motorcycle company announced it will select 8 students for a summer internship and get them out on the road. The students will be taught how to ride a motorcycle and then travel to different company events throughout the country, riding a Harley there, of course. They'll document everything through social media with the goal of attracting younger riders. On top of riding across the country, the interns will get a salary and also get an opportunity to shadow executives at Harley's headquarters, learning more about the business side of the company. College students from anywhere in the world are eligible and need to apply by May 11th. And as an added bonus, the interns will get to keep the bike they rode through the summer.
Prince's 10,000 square foot island home will soon be sold to the highest bidder. The late singer owned this property in Turks and Caicos, which features 6 bedrooms, 6 baths, 2 private beaches, a tennis court, and a 200-foot personal dock. The most unique part of the estate is the driveway. Prince painted it purple, his signature color. The 5-acre property first hit the market in May of 2016, a month after his death, but didn't sell at the $12 million price tag. Now it will be part of a closed bid auction, with the accepted offer announced July 12th. Well, some kids in the Charlotte area got to attend the Wells Fargo Golf Championship this past weekend, and the experience was one they'll never forget. Paige Failing from Fox 46 in Charlotte joins us with more. So, Paige, I hear some very deserving kids got to meet their hero.
Isn't that so fun? Yeah, Kristen, I don't know about you, but with my lack of golf game, a hole-in-one, not exactly the most likely thing to happen to me on a golf course, but for some lucky kids here in Charlotte, I bet they never thought they'd be this lucky either. They got free tickets to go out, then they not only meet, but they get a fist bump from their hero, none other than the one and only Tiger Woods himself.
Today has been like the best day of my life since I've actually got a fist bump from Tiger Woods, and I never got one before.
Tiger didn't disappoint either, people saying that he was both taller and more muscular in person. So at least they can be impressed with that. Just tell them, Kristen, to not look at where Tiger ended up on the scoreboard.
Well, you can't win them all. Thanks, Paige.
California is about to become the first state in the US and maybe even the first place in the world to require solar panels on all new construction homes. California Energy Commission is expected to pass a bill which would go into effect on January the 1st, 2020. All houses, condos and apartment buildings up to 3 stories high would be expected to follow the solar mandate. Experts estimate it will cost an extra $25,000 to $30,000 to build new homes under the bill, but homeowners are expected to save $50,000 to $60,000 on energy bills over a 25-year period, so it's well worth it. New Jersey and Minnesota have also been implementing more use of solar power, but so far California has been the most aggressive.
27 years ago, doctors told Andy Furlett to put his wife in a nursing home. He decided to do something else. Andy and Donna got married in 1966. In 1991, she had a brain aneurysm that left her paralyzed on her left side. But Andy promised Donna they would stick together and live the best life they could. So Andy booked a trip for Bermuda. The couple has been traveling the world ever since. They've been to 27 countries on all 7 continents. Andy does the packing and pushes Donna in her wheelchair, which she named after Tina Turner's Proud Mary because it keeps on rolling. Andy says, "I've loved Donna from the day I met her and can't imagine doing anything else." The couple says love takes patience, understanding, and kindness. They have 4 kids and 12 grandchildren. Andy and Donna are saving up for their next trip, this time to Scandinavia. Well, moving on now to an important story. YouTube has removed hundreds of videos for promoting academic cheating. This week, the site took down videos that advertised an essay writing service called EduBirdie. The company describes itself as the professional essay writing service for students who can't even. What that means is for prices starting at $18 a page, students can hire someone to write their essay for them. A BBC investigation found advertising for EduBirdie on more than 250 YouTube channels. Those channels included ones belonging to gamer JMX and blogger Adam Saleh that have millions of subscribers. The service was mentioned as an easy way to pass classes. The videos were viewed more than 700 million times. EduBirdie's parent company says the essays are only provided for reference. But England's university's minister said the videos were enabling and normalizing cheating, potentially on an industrial scale. YouTube policy states that advertising is not permitted for academic aids. Essay writing services are legal. It's when students turn in the work as their own that they get into some trouble.
Yeah, right. Okay, Top 30, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Top 30. Do you ever wish you could go back to the good old days? Well, there's a house in Southern Ontario, Canada, that is basically a time capsule for the 80s and 90s, with pop culture toys and memorabilia strewn everywhere. It was reportedly abandoned after the homeowners passed away and doesn't look like it's been touched ever since. Old magazines from 1982 featuring E.T. on the cover, vinyl records like Michael Jackson and the Bee Gees, old Barbie dolls, and piles of vintage board games were found by Freaktography, a photographer that hunts for abandoned spaces across North America. He writes of the home, stacks upon stacks of old magazines that document an entire history of pop culture through the generations, including what looks like every TV guide ever printed. The house appears frozen in time. There's even what looks like a teenage girl's room with platinum blonde posters still on the wall. You know, a lot of that stuff is probably worth some serious money now.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That is it for today's show. Here's what's coming up on the next Top 30. Top 30 talks to an expert about how social media could affect your relationship, plus the unbelievable story of a secretary who managed to save millions and what she did with the money. You can also listen to the day's biggest stories by subscribing to the new Top 30 podcast on iTunes. See you next time here on Top 30.